There are moments in these later years when the house feels too quiet. The children are grown, the phone barely rings, and your partner may be asleep or no longer here. The TV is off, the world has slowed, and you're left with the soft ticking of a clock and the distant hum of life outside your window. And in that stillness, there's a heaviness, not just in the knees or the back, but inside the heart. A heaviness made of years, memories you didn't ask to remember, and silences you never learned how to fill. Because the truth is, aging doesn't hurt the most in the body. It hurts in the places no one can see. It's the quiet ache of regrets that still whisper, old arguments that never found closure, people you miss with a depth that words cannot reach. It's the weight of things left unsaid, the choices you would change if you could turn time with your hands, and the realization that life didn't unfold exactly the way you imagined. That emotional weight can feel far heavier than any physical pain, and yet, it's the part of aging we rarely talk about. But Buddhist wisdom offers a gentler way. The Buddha did not avoid aging, sickness, or death. He walked directly toward them and discovered a peace that lived through them, not around them. These years you're in are not empty or leftover. They are a doorway, a softer season where meaning becomes clearer and the heart finally has space to breathe. And in this video, we'll walk together through 7 gentle Buddhist lessons to help you set down the burdens you no longer need, lighten the weight inside your chest, and return your attention to what truly matters in the time you have now. You don't need to take notes, just listen, slowly, and let these words sit beside you like a quiet friend. Lesson 1. Stay spiritually awake. You are not finished. Yet, there is a quiet lie that the world tells older people, sometimes without saying a single word. It's the lie that your learning is over, that your chapter is nearly closed, that your days are meant to be spent winding down instead of waking up. People talk to you as if you've already seen everything life has to offer, as if your curiosity has somehow expired with age. And after hearing it long enough, you might start to believe it. You might find yourself sitting in the same chair every morning thinking, maybe this is it. Maybe I'm just waiting for time to pass. But Buddhist wisdom offers a very different truth. In Buddhism, the most precious mind is not the mind that knows everything. It's the beginner's mind. The mind that stays open, curious, alive. The beginner is not weak. The beginner is awake. And these later years, the quiet ones, may actually be the ripest years of your spiritual life. Because now the noise has faded, ambition has softened. There is finally space to look inward, to ask questions you didn't have the time or courage to ask when you were younger. These years are not the end of your growth. They are an invitation to grow differently, inward, deeper, wiser. And the beautiful part is you don't need grand gestures to stay spiritually awake. You only need one small thing, one tiny practice each day. Ask yourself a gentle reflection question, like, what softened in me today? Try a short, guided meditation, even for 3 minutes. Or read a single paragraph of spiritual teaching, and instead of rushing to understand it, sit with it. Feel it breathe. You don't need a sharp memory. You don't need perfect health. You only need breath. Because as long as you can breathe, you can grow. So let this be your reminder. You are not finished, not even close. There is still a living part of you that hasn't been met yet. And once you reconnect with that quiet, alive part inside you, the next step becomes clearer, protecting the people and energy around you. Lesson 2. Choose peace over obligation in relationships. As we grow older, something subtle begins to happen in our relationships. The circle gets smaller, the noise gets softer, yet the emotional weight of certain people somehow grows heavier. Many elders quietly carry the burden of obligation. The critical child who never learned how to speak with kindness. The relative who drains your energy every time they call. The old friend who has turned bitter over the years. And deep inside, there's a guilt that whispers, what kind of parent, sibling, or elder would step back? So you stay. You answer the calls. You listen to the complaints. You endure the remarks. And piece by piece, your peace is carved away. But Buddhist wisdom offers you a freedom that society rarely grants older hearts. You are allowed to choose peace over obligation. In Buddhism, Sangha means supportive community, not just any community supportive. This means that even in the later years of life, you deserve people who bring calm into your home, not chaos into your chest. You deserve moments that feel warm, not draining. And you deserve relationships that respect your emotional boundaries, not those that pull you back into old patterns of guilt and self-sacrifice. Loving people does not mean constant contact. Loving someone does not mean absorbing their anger or accepting their unkindness, because family is family. The Buddha taught that true compassion also includes having compassion for your own suffering. And sometimes the most loving act is distance, not out of punishment, but out of wisdom. Here's a gentle practice. After each interaction, simply ask yourself, do I feel peaceful or do I feel tense? If your chest tightens every time someone's name appears on your phone, that is not love. That is emotional conditioning. And at this stage of life, you have earned the right to respond differently. Allow yourself less, fewer phone calls, shorter visits, more quiet time with those who make you feel safe, seen, and steady. You can still pray for someone. You can still wish them well, but you don't have to give them your energy every day. You can love someone without letting them into your emotional home. And as you gently simplify your relationships, something unexpected happens. Your heart begins to breathe again. Your mind becomes lighter. And you create space to truly feel the one thing you still fully have. This moment. Lesson 3. Live inside. Today, not inside. Back then. One of the quiet pains of growing older is how easily the mind slips backward. We replay the choices we wish we made differently. We revisit conversations we can't change. We think about the years when our bodies were stronger, our families were closer, and our purpose felt clearer. And when we're not living in the past, we're often worrying about the future, illness, finances, loneliness, or the fear of becoming a burden. It's a painful loop. Regret behind us, fear ahead of us, and almost no attention left for the one place life still exists, today. But Buddhist wisdom reminds us that the present moment is where suffering begins to soften. It doesn't erase the past. It doesn't fix the future. It simply gives you a place where your heart can rest. Because in pure awareness, when you're truly here, breathing into this exact moment, there is no young or old. There is no countdown, no comparison, just one living breath that belongs fully to you. Aging becomes heavier when the mind constantly time travels. But when the mind returns home to now, something inside you becomes calm, steady, grounded. The beauty of presence is that it doesn't require effort. You don't need discipline or perfect concentration or a long meditation cushion. All you need is one tiny ritual each day. One moment where you pause and enter the life that is actually happening. It could be a slow cup of tea or coffee, feeling the warmth travel through your hands. It could be standing at your window and simply looking at the sky, clouds drifting, light changing, the world gently moving without your help. It could be as simple as placing your feet on the floor, sensing the steady support beneath you. During this small ritual, repeat a single sentence. I am here. Today is still mine. Say it softly. Let it sink in. Let it remind you that even if yesterday hurt and tomorrow is uncertain, today still belongs to you. There is beauty within it you haven't discovered yet. There is peace waiting for your attention. There is a breath that can only be lived now. And as you begin to truly live inside the day, you're in. Not the memories behind you or the fears ahead. Another truth begins to reveal itself gently. Everything you see is changing. Lesson 4. Make friends with change instead of fighting it. One of the most startling moments in older age is when you look in the mirror and think, who is that? The face you see doesn't always match the version of yourself you still carry in your mind. You may miss the roles that once defined you. Being a worker with purpose, a parent with a busy home, a caregiver everyone depended on, a partner with shared dreams. As the world moves faster and faster, it's easy to feel like you're on the outside watching life swirl by, wondering when you stopped being part of the center. But Buddhism teaches something both gentle and profound. Aging is not a punishment. It is simply a natural season of life. The Buddha described impermanence, anicca, as a universal truth. Everything changes. The body changes. Relationships evolve. Roles rise and fall. Even the person you believe yourself to be shifts over the years. Nothing in nature stays young forever. Yet nothing in nature loses its worth because of it. An old tree is still sacred. A winter landscape still holds beauty. A river still flows even when its edges freeze. And in the same way, you are not becoming less. You are simply becoming different. The deepest freedom comes from remembering this. You are not your changing body. You are the awareness watching it all. You are the one who lived all those roles, all those years, all those moments. The body has aged, yes, but the awareness behind it, the consciousness that has been watching since childhood, is still here, still awake, still capable of peace. Here is a simple reflection to soften the fear of change. Whenever something shifts, your health, your routine, your energy, quietly tell yourself, this is changing, this is natural. Not in defeat, but in understanding. And instead of saying, I used to be able to do so much, try gently shifting to, I'm grateful I can still do this today. Gratitude doesn't ignore the truth. It simply widens the lens so you can see what's still good. Because once you stop wrestling so hard with what's already gone, you discover something surprising. You suddenly have more strength and more space to enjoy what is still beautifully here. Lesson 5. Let small joys carry you through the day. There comes a point in life when the world grows quieter. Maybe you're retired. Maybe the kids have their own families now. Maybe the house that was once filled with footsteps and laughter now echoes with your own breathing. Days can feel long. Routines can feel repetitive, and an uncomfortable question may begin to whisper inside you. What is the point now? Not out of despair, but out of a kind of emptiness, an absence of purpose in a world that once demanded so much from you, and now asks for very little. But Buddhist wisdom reveals a different kind of purpose in these years, one that doesn't come from doing more, but from noticing more. Meaning in later life doesn't grow out of activity, it grows out of depth. And depth lives in the smallest moments, the ones you were too busy to feel fully when you were younger. Joy in old age is not loud. It doesn't arrive with excitement or fireworks. It arrives quietly, almost shyly. It lives in the warmth of a soft blanket, wrapped around your shoulders on a cool morning, in the sunlight that spills across your hands as you sit by the window, in the gentle ringing of the phone when someone you love still remembers to call, in the bird that lands outside your window, reminding you that life still visits, even in silence. These aren't small things. These are spiritual moments, tiny openings where the heart can breathe again. The Buddha taught that contentment arises not from what we get, but from what we notice. And noticing is a form of meditation. When you pause to appreciate something simple, you are not wasting time. You are honoring it. You are saying, this moment matters. This is enough for now. So here is a gentle practice to help your days feel fuller, warmer, more meaningful. Every night before you sleep, name 2 or 3 things that felt good today. They don't need to be big. It could be the taste of your tea, a brief conversation, a memory that brought a smile, or even just the feeling of finally sitting down. When you name these things, you teach your mind how to see richness again. And in the morning, before the world enters your mind, whisper softly, "Thank you for one more day." Not because everything is perfect, but because you've been given another sunrise, another chance to notice something beautiful. Gratitude doesn't erase pain. It simply opens the curtain wide enough for light to enter. These little rituals won't remove loneliness or erase hardship, but they soften the edges. They remind you that life still offers gifts, even now, especially now. And as you let your heart soften with gratitude, you'll notice another transformation beginning quietly within you, an invitation to relate differently to the body that now moves more slowly than it once did. Lesson 6. Treat your aging body with respect, not anger. One of the hardest parts of growing older is waking up each morning in a body that feels a little different than it did the day before. Maybe you walk a little slower now. Maybe your knees ache before you even stand. Maybe your hands are stiffer, or your breath feels shorter, or you need medication just to keep everything functioning the way it should. There are days when your body feels like an unfamiliar house you once lived in comfortably, but now struggle to move through. And when that happens, it's easy, so easy, to start feeling betrayed by your own flesh. Why me? Why now? I used to be so strong. I can't do anything anymore. The body can become a source of frustration, sadness, or even shame. But Buddhist wisdom offers a different, kinder way to relate to this new chapter of physical life, one that can relieve emotional suffering even when the physical pain remains. The Buddha taught the profound lesson of the 2 arrows. The first arrow is the physical pain you cannot always avoid: aching joints, a stiff back, medical conditions, exhaustion, and the limits that naturally come with age. This arrow hurts, but it is part of being human. You did not choose it. You did not earn it. It simply arrived with time. The second arrow is the suffering we add on top of the pain. It sounds like, why is my body failing me? I hate this. I'm useless now. I don't recognize myself anymore. This second arrow is emotional pain, self-blame, anger, fear, frustration. And unlike the first arrow, this one is optional. Mindfulness cannot always remove the first arrow, but it can gently stop the second. Instead of fighting your body, mindfulness invites you to sit with it, to feel the sensations, not as punishments, but simply as experiences rising in the body. When pain comes, try a simple practice. Pause. Notice exactly where the pain lives: your knee, your lower back, your hands. Feel it without rushing, without labeling it as bad, without tightening around it. Then breathe into that place softly and say to yourself, this is a sensation. I can be kind to myself here. Not I need this to go away. Not I shouldn't feel this at my age. Just, this is a sensation, and I can be gentle with myself. This small shift can change everything. When you stop resenting your pain stops controlling your happiness. It becomes something you live with, not something you fight against every moment of the day. And in the midst of this gentle awareness, something beautiful happens. You begin to treat your body with the kindness it has always deserved. Instead of criticizing it for what it can't do anymore, you begin to thank it for what it still does. You start whispering softly, "Thank you for carrying me through so many years, because this body, despite everything, has been your loyal companion. It held you when you cried. It carried you through storms and celebrations. It let you hold your children, work for your family, dance in your youth, laugh with friends, and love deeply. Every scar, wrinkle, and weakness is a testament to a life lived fully. When you see your body this way, respect replaces anger. Gratitude replaces disappointment. Compassion replaces frustration. And your relationship with yourself becomes more peaceful, more tender. And as your body naturally slows down, something unexpected becomes possible. A gift you may not have had in the busier chapters of life. Time and space to sit quietly with yourself. Lesson 7. Let gentle solitude become your inner temple. There is a kind of silence that enters life as we grow older, a silence we never prepared for. The house that once overflowed with voices now rests in long stretches of stillness. Children live far away, building lives of their own. Friends who once shared your daily world may have moved, drifted, or passed on. And some evenings, after the sun slips low and the rooms turn dim, you may find yourself sitting alone in a familiar chair, wrapped in a quiet that feels too heavy for the heart. Loneliness in older age has a way of sneaking into the corners of the day, whispering, "Everyone is gone. No one needs you now." It is a painful thought, one that can settle deep in the soul if we don't meet it with understanding. But Buddhist wisdom offers a gentle, transformative perspective on being alone. It reminds us that solitude is not the same as loneliness. Loneliness is the fear of being with yourself. Solitude is the comfort of finally having time to listen to your own heart. In the Buddhist tradition, solitude is a sacred space, a spiritual room where your mind and heart can sit together without interruption. When the world around you becomes quieter, your inner world becomes clearer. The noise of earlier years, the responsibilities, the busyness, the constant giving begins to soften, allowing your deepest truths to rise to the surface. Many elders discover, sometimes unexpectedly, that the quiet they once feared becomes a doorway to emotional rest, spiritual clarity, and a new kind of peace. The Buddha often spoke of noble silence, a silence that is not empty, but full. A silence in which the mind stops running toward noise for comfort. A silence that allows the heart to breathe at its own pace. This is not the silence of abandonment. It is the silence of awakening. When the distractions fade, when no one is calling your name, when you are no longer needed every minute of the day, your inner voice becomes easier to hear. And within that voice lives a lifetime of wisdom, stories, memories, and love that were often overshadowed by the rush of earlier years. But how do you turn solitude into something nourishing rather than painful? The answer is surprisingly simple. Each day, set aside 10 to 15 minutes. No TV, no phone, no background noise, no scrolling. Sit in a chair or on your bed or by your window. Feel your breath moving gently in and out. Feel your feet resting on the floor or your hands resting in your lap. Notice the aliveness that is still within you, the same aliveness that has been there since you were a child. These few quiet minutes can shift everything. Instead of thinking, "No one is here," gently say to yourself, "I am here with myself." And let that be enough for this moment. This simple sentence can soften loneliness in ways people often don't expect. Because you are not truly alone. You are with the person who has lived every chapter of your life, who has survived every hardship, who has carried every joy and sorrow. When you sit with yourself in awareness, you sit with someone who has walked a long journey and is still learning, still growing, still breathing. These quiet moments become a reunion, with your own spirit, with time. These periods of solitude transform. They become a form of prayer, not in words, but in presence. A way of saying, I am here and I am listening. They become meditation, the art of staying with what is real in this moment and letting the mind loosen its grip on worry. Solitude can also become a place of soft remembrance. You may think of loved ones who are gone, not with the sharp edge of grief, but with the warmth of gratitude. You may recall memories not as losses but as gifts you were lucky to experience. Solitude allows these memories to settle gently, like feathers falling onto still water. Little by little, solitude becomes your inner temple, a place you can return to whenever the world feels too loud or too empty. A place where you don't have to impress anyone, fix anything, or hold yourself together for others. You can simply be. You can breathe. You can feel your own presence and realize it is not as lonely as you feared. Such moments become anchors in your day, drawing you back to yourself with tenderness. And once solitude becomes a source of nourishment instead of fear, something beautiful begins to unfold inside you. You understand that being alone does not mean you are forgotten. It means you finally have time to meet the parts of yourself that were waiting quietly behind all the noise of life. It means your heart has room to rest and to begin again. Closing reflection. These years are not a leftover. As you reach the quiet part of the day, let these reminders settle gently into your heart. You are still allowed to learn. Your mind is not finished, and your spirit is not done growing. You are allowed to choose peaceful people, to release the ones who trouble your heart, and to surround yourself with calm instead of obligation. You are allowed to live in today, not only in the memories of back then. You are allowed to accept change as a natural rhythm of life, not a personal loss. You are allowed to enjoy small moments of joy, the sunlight through your window, the taste of warm tea, the sound of evening silence. You are allowed to be kind to your aging body, to speak to it with gratitude instead of anger. And you are allowed to rest in gentle solitude, discovering that being alone can become a place of healing instead of fear. These years are not a leftover chapter. They are not the scraps of a story that already peaked. These years are the part of life where the heart finally understands what truly matters. They are the quieter pages where meaning becomes clearer, where noise fades and truth rises. You are not useless. You are ripened. Like fruit that has weathered many seasons, your wisdom is sweeter because of what you have lived through. Your life is not diminishing, it is deepening. And if you still feel regret sometimes, that is okay. If fear still visits you in the night, that is okay. If you still miss people who are gone, or moments you wish you could touch again, that is okay. These feelings do not make you weak, they make you human. Your heart is not late in learning peace. It is just now waking up in a new way, a gentler, wiser way. So tonight, don't try to fix your whole life. Don't try to solve every worry or rewrite every memory. Choose just one lesson from today's journey and hold it softly in your heart. One small shift, one gentle intention, that is enough, truly enough. And if these words sat kindly beside you today, you are welcome to stay connected, like, share, or subscribe for more gentle Buddhist wisdom to accompany you in these years. May you walk the rest of your path with softness, clarity, and peace.